The gift no one wanted coming to Reed walked through the long metal hall of the base. His boots echoed on the floor. Everyone turned to watch him. Some looked at him with respect, others with envy. He had fought for years in the outer wars. He had led men and machines to victory. He was known for his calm face and steady voice. Even when everything burned around him, now the war was over, but Reed felt no peace. At the end of the hall, a tall officer stood waiting. He wore a black uniform with silver lines on the shoulders. His eyes were cold, like glass. "Commander Reed," the officer said, "your reward has been prepared." Reed frowned. "Reward?" "For your service," the officer said. He stepped aside and pressed a button on the wall. A heavy door opened with a hiss. Inside, the figures stood in the shadows. Chains hung from their wrists. They were thin and silent, their heads bowed. "Bring them out," the officer ordered. The guard stepped in and pulled the figures forward. As they moved into the light, Reed felt his stomach twist. They were twin sisters, young alien women, with pale skin and long hair the color of midnight. Metal collars shone around their necks. The taller one lifted her face. Her eyes were bright green, clear and sad. "My name is Kala," she whispered. "This is my sister, Lyra." Lyra did not lift her head. Her thin hands trembled. Reed looked at the officer. "Why are you giving them to me?" "They are a gift," the officer said, "from the High Command. They belong to the defeated worlds. You may use them as you wish." Reed felt anger rising in his chest. "They are not things." The officer's cold eyes narrowed. "They are property, Commander. You have earned them." Kala spoke again, her voice soft. "We will serve you. That is our purpose." Reed looked into her eyes and saw something that cut deeper than any. While he had known she believed it, he turned away. "Take those chains off." The officer's mouth twitched. "That is not advised." "I didn't ask your advice," Reed said, his voice low. For a moment, no one moved. Then the officer nodded sharply. "Unlock them," he ordered the guards. The chains fell to the floor with a heavy sound. Kala and Lyra did not move. They stood still, their shoulders tense. Reed stepped closer. He spoke carefully, as if to a child. "You are free," he said. Kala's eyes widened. "Free? Yes," Reed said. "No one will touch you. No one will order you. You can leave if you wish." Lyra finally lifted her face. Tears ran down her cheeks. "But we have nowhere to go," she whispered. Reed's chest hurt. He had seen too many people left with nothing. "Then you may stay here," he said softly. "But it is your choice." The officer watched with a tight smile. "You are soft, Commander. This will bring you trouble. Get out," Reed said. The officer turned without another word. The guards followed him. The heavy door closed behind. Then with a dull thud, for a moment, the room was silent. Kala looked at Reed with wide, searching eyes. "You will not punish us?" "No," Reed said. "Sit if you wish. Rest." She guided her sister to a bench near the wall. Lyra curled up, her thin arms around her knees. Reed walked to the control panel and dimmed the lights. The harsh brightness faded to a softer glow. "You are not my enemies," he said. "You are not my property." Kala's lips parted as if to answer, but no words came. Hours passed. Reed sat at his desk, pretending to read reports. In truth, he watched them when they were not looking. Kala stayed awake, watching the door. Every time a sound came from the hall, she tensed like a trapped animal. Lyra slept, but even in sleep, her face twisted with fear. Reed rubbed his tired eyes. He knew this was not over. The High Command would not be pleased. But when he thought about sending them away, his chest felt hollow. They had been given to him like prizes, but they were just girls who had lost everything. Late at night, Kala stood and crossed the room. She stopped a few steps from his desk. "If we stay," she whispered, "we will work. We will clean and cook. We will repay you." "You don't owe me anything," Reed said. Kala looked down. "We were taught that kindness always has a cost." Reed felt something break inside him. "Not here," he said. She looked up, her green eyes shining in the dim light. For the first time, he saw a spark of tiny hope, and in that moment, he knew he had made the right choice. The choice dawned, came slowly. Pale light slipped through the high windows of the base, painted long lines across the floor. Commander Reed sat at his desk, staring at the door. He had not slept. Kala lay curled on the bench with her sister. Lyra's head rested against Kala's shoulder. Her thin chest rose and fell with each shallow breath. When the first light touched her face, Kayla opened her eyes. For a moment, she looked peaceful. But then she remembered where she was, and fear returned. Reed stood and walked to them. "You don't have to be afraid," he said quietly. Kayla's voice was soft. "They will come for us. You know this." "I know," Reed said. "But while you are here, you are safe." Kayla did not answer. She only looked down at her hands. A soft chime sounded at the door. Reed felt his heart tighten. He pressed the button to open it. A young officer stood in the doorway, holding a data pad. His eyes flicked nervously to the twins. "Commander," he said, "this message came for you." Reed took the pad. "Thank you." The officer hesitated. "Sir, is it true you refused the reward?" Reed met his gaze. "It is true." The officer swallowed. "Some say it will bring trouble." Reed's voice was calm. "Then let it come." The officer left quickly, and the door closed again. Reed looked at the message. It was short and cold. "Return the property at once. Failure to comply will be seen as disobedience." He read it twice, then set the pad on the desk. He felt the old anger rise in him again, anger at the way power crushed those who could not fight back. Kayla watched him. "What does it say, they want you returned?" Reed said. Lyra stirred, waking slowly, her eyes open, and she looked between them, confused. "They will hurt us," Lyra whispered. Reed shook his head. "No, I won't let them." Kayla's voice trembled. "If you keep us, they will hurt you." "Maybe," Reed said, "but some things are worth the risk." Kayla stood, her thin hands clenched. "You don't understand. All our lives, we were taught that humans would take and take, that they would break us. I am not like them." Reed said. She met his eyes. "Then why are you here? Why do you fight in their wars?" Reed felt the question sink deep. He had asked himself the same thing many times. "Because I thought it was the only way to make peace," he said softly, "but maybe I was wrong." Lyra sat up, her voice small. "Then what will you do?" Reed looked at them both. "You are free to choose. You can leave now. I will not stop you." Kayla shook her head. "Where will we go?" "We have nothing." "Then you can stay," Reed said. "But not as servants, not as slaves, only as guests." For a long moment, no one spoke. The only sound was the soft hum of the lights overhead. Finally, Kayla reached out and took her sister's hand. "If we stay," she said slowly, "we must work. We cannot just take." "You don't have to repay me," Reed said. Kayla's voice grew firm. "Please, let us do something, anything. It is the only way we can feel human." Reed nodded. "All right, but only what you choose." Lyra looked up. Her eyes were wet with tears. "Thank you." Reed stepped away to give them space. He walked to the small window and looked out over the base. He saw the patrols moving through the gates, the flags waving in the cold wind. He wondered how long he could protect them here. Behind him, Kayla's voice broke the silence. "Commander." He turned. She stood tall, though her body still shook. "We have decided. We will stay, and we will not hide." Reed felt a quiet respect for her. She had been given no choices her whole life, and now she was brave enough to make one. "Then I will stand with you," he said. Lyra rose on unsteady legs. She took a step closer. "Do you promise you will not change your mind?" Reed looked at her with steady eyes. "I promise." A soft tone sounded from the wall screen. A message flashed across it. "Inspection scheduled. All quarters will be reviewed. Non-authorized persons will be removed." Kayla looked at the words and then back at Reed. "What will you do?" she asked. Reed's voice was calm, but something hard glinted in his eyes. "I will find a way to keep you safe," he said. And though fear still lived in Kayla's heart, she felt for the first time a small spark of trust. The escape plan warning message stayed on the screen for a long time. Its red letters glowed like a threat that would not fade. "Inspection scheduled. Non-authorized persons will be removed." Kayla and Lyra stood close together. Their thin hands were locked tight, as if only holding on to each other could keep them upright. Commander Reed read the message again and again. He knew what it meant. The High Command was not waiting any longer. They would come here with soldiers, and they would take the sisters back. He turned away from the screen. "You can't stay here," he said quietly. Kayla shook her head. "If we leave, they will find us." "Maybe," Reed said, "but here, you will have no chance to hide." Lyra's voice was so small he almost did not hear it. "Then we are lost." "No," Reed said, and this time his voice was stronger. "You are not lost. Not yet." He walked to the wall and pressed his hand against a hidden panel. The metal door beside it slid open with a soft hiss. Behind it was a small room filled with supplies packs, sealed water, emergency rations, and in the far corner, covered with a tarp, was a long metal case. Reed pulled the tarp away. Inside was a folded escape sled. Kayla stared at it. What is that? A hidden route. Reed said, it is fast and quiet. It can get you off this base without being seen. Lyra took a step back. But you will be punished. Reed looked at her. I don't care. For a moment, the three of them stood in the dim light. No one spoke. Finally, Kayla said, you do not even know us. Why are you risking your life? Reed met her eyes. Because I was a soldier too long. Because I forgot how to be human, and you reminded me. Kayla's lips trembled. You will be called a traitor, maybe, Reed said softly. But I would rather be a traitor than watch you be taken. He turned back to the escape sled. His hands moved over the controls, checking that the power cell was full. It hummed to life with a soft blue glow. You must leave tonight, he said, before the inspection teams arrive. Lyra's voice cracked. We don't know how to live free. We were always told what to do. Reed walked to her. He rested a hand on her shoulder. Then you will learn. Together. Kayla closed her eyes. When she opened them, there was a strength there that had not been before. If we go, she said, we will not run forever. We will find a place where no one owns us. Reed nodded. I will help you. Her eyes widened. You will come. With us? Yes, he said. I will not let you face this alone. For a moment, neither sister spoke. Then Lyra took a slow breath. I want that, she whispered. I don't want to be afraid anymore. Reed felt something warm in his chest. It was not hope yet, but it was close. They spent the next hours preparing. Kayla and Lyra packed food and water. Reed found old clothes that would not mark them as prisoners. While Lyra rolled blankets, she looked up and asked, where will we go? There is a small colony, Reed said, far from the command. No one there cares about the old wars. Kayla frowned. And if the hunters follow us, then we will make our stand there, Reed said. When night came, the halls of the base were quiet, but everyone could feel something building in the air, a storm ready to break. Reed opened the hidden door again. Cold air swept in. The sled glowed softly in the darkness. Kayla stepped forward first. She turned back to look at him. Thank you, she said. You don't have to thank me, Reed said. Lyra stood beside her sister. For the first time, her shoulders were not bowed. She looked almost tall. I was always waiting for someone to save us, she said. But maybe we must save ourselves. Reed's mouth curved in a tired smile. Maybe we save each other. They climbed into the sled. The hatch closed with a soft click. Reed pressed the launch button. The sled hummed and began to move forward, sliding into the darkness of the hidden tunnel dot as they disappeared. He felt fear and relief all mixed together. He knew this choice would cost him everything he had built, but he also knew he had finally done something that mattered. Far above, in the cold halls of command, a voice spoke into a communicator. Commander Reed has refused orders. He is helping the escaped property. Another voice replied, flat and cold. Then he is no longer one of us. Find them. In the small sled moving through the darkness, Kayla reached for Lyra's hand. Are you afraid? She asked. Yes, Lyra whispered. But for the first time, I am also something else. What? Free. Asterisk. The flat, hidden sled hummed softly as it moved through the narrow tunnel beneath the base. Commander Reed sat at the controls, eyes sharp and hands steady. Behind him, Kayla and Lyra held each other tightly, their breaths quick and shallow. Outside, the base was waking up. Soldiers patrolled the halls, unaware of the small escape happening beneath their feet. But Reed knew the alarm would sound soon. We need to move fast, he said quietly. Kayla nodded, her green eyes bright despite the fear. Thank you for this chance. Reed glanced at her. No one should be a prize or a slave. The sled slid smoothly into the open air. The cold night wrapped around them like a shroud. Above, stars glittered, silent witnesses to their flight. Reed flipped a switch, raising the sled into the sky. The engines roared softly as they climbed higher. Lyra whispered, I'd have never seen the stars like this. Kayla smiled weakly. Neither have one. They both looked out at the vast blackness, feeling small but free. Behind them, alarms blared in the base. Soldiers ran toward the launch bay. Launch alert, a voice shouted. Unauthorized vessel has left the base. Reed gripped the controls. They're coming after us. He banked the sled sharply, dodging searchlights and laser turrets. The engines pushed them faster, but damage from the battle slowed their climb. The twins held hands as the sled shook. Lyra looked pale, her breathing uneven. "Are you all right?" Kayla asked. "I'm scared," Lyra whispered. "But I want to live." Kayla squeezed her hand. "We will." Reed felt a surge of hope. This flight was their only chance. Suddenly, the sled shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed. "We've been hit," Reed said grimly. "Hull breach." In the rear, the cold night air rushed in. Reed sealed the breach as best he could, but the sled began to lose power. "We have to land," he said. Kayla looked at him. Fear and trust mixed in her eyes. "Where?" she asked. "There's a frozen planet nearby," Reed said. "We can try to land there." The sled dropped fast through the atmosphere, ice crystals flashing past the windows. Reed fought to control the descent. The ground came up fast to white. Frozen wasteland stretching as far as the eye could see. Reed braked hard, but the sled crashed into the snow with a thunderous roar. The hull groaned and cracked, but it held inside. The twins shivered from the cold and shock. Reed checked them quickly. "We're alive," he said. Kayla nodded, her teeth chattering. "But we can't stay here long." Reed pulled a blanket from a storage box and wrapped it around Lyra. "I'll find help," he said. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. "Be careful." Reed stepped outside. The frozen wind cut through his coat. The landscape was harsh and empty. In the distance, faint lights flickered. "Maybe there's someone there," he whispered. He started walking toward the lights, each step crunching in the snow. Back inside, Kayla held Lyra's hand tightly. "We will wait," she said. "And hope." Outside, Reed disappeared into the night. The frozen planet was quiet, but not empty. Somewhere in the distance, the hunters had landed. They began their search, but on this cold world, 3 hearts burned bright with hope and courage. The cold and the fresh cold was deep and sharp. Outside the broken sled, snow covered the frozen ground like a white blanket. Inside, Kayla wrapped a thin blanket tightly around Lyra. Lyra's teeth chattered as she tried to warm her hands. Her pale face showed how weak she had become. Kayla's green eyes were full of worry. "You must stay warm," she said softly. Lyra nodded, but did not speak. Reed returned to the sled, carrying dry wood and a small metal box. "I found some supplies," he said, setting them down near the broken door. Kayla looked up. "Thank you." He knelt and built a small fire inside the sled's heating chamber. The warmth slowly filled the cramped space. Reed looked at Lyra. "You'll be better soon." Lyra managed a weak smile. "I hope so." As the fire crackled, Kayla told Reed stories of their childhood. "We grew up on a green planet," she said. "The sun was warm, and the fields were endless. Our family farmed the land for years." Reed listened, imagining a world so different from the frozen one around them. But when the war came, Kayla continued, "We were taken. Our freedom was stolen. We were made to serve others, like tools." She looked down, sadness shadowing her face. "Now, here with you," she said quietly, "I remember what it means to hope." Reed reached out and took her hand. "You deserve that hope." Kayla's eyes shone with tears. "Thank you, Reed." Outside, the wind howled around the sled. Snow piled up against the broken hull. Suddenly, a soft sound came from the edge of the clearing, a distant light flickering through the trees. Reed's heart pounded. Hunters. He grabbed his coat and rifle. "I'll check it out." Kayla and Lyra looked at each other, fear clear on their faces. "Be careful, Kayla," whispered. Reed nodded and stepped outside. The cold bit at his skin. He moved slowly through the snow, the rifle ready. The lights grew brighter, and he saw a group of armed men moving through the forest. They wore heavy armor and carried scanners. Their faces were hidden behind helmets. Reed ducked behind a tree and watched. "They're looking for the twins," he muttered. Back in the sled, Kayla held Lyra close. "If they find us," Lyra whispered, "what will happen?" Kayla's voice was firm. "We fight. We survive." Reed returned with fresh supplies and medicine. He helped Lyra drink the bitter liquid. "You'll heal," he promised. Lyra looked up at him with gratitude. "Thank you." Kayla smiled softly. "You are a good man." Reed shook his head. "I'm just doing what's right." As night fell, the hunters set up camp nearby. Their voices and firelight flickered through the trees. Kayla and Lyra lay close together, listening. "We won't let them take us back," Kayla said. "No," Reed agreed. "We stand together." Outside, the cold wind whispered secrets of a battle soon to come, and inside the small sled, Three hearts burned with hope and the will to be free. Asterisk the stand hunters moved closer under the cold moonlight. Their armor glinted as they stepped through the snow toward the broken sled. Inside, Reed checked his rifle one last time. His hands were steady, but his heart thundered. Kayla and Lyra sat together, their eyes wide but filled with determination. They want to take us, Lyra whispered. That we will not go quietly, Kayla said firmly. Reed nodded. We fight. Together. The door creaked as the hunters reached the sled. Come out, a voice shouted. Surrender now. Reed stood and opened the door. Kayla rose beside him, her shoulders straight. Lyra followed, trembling but brave. The hunters raised their weapons, aiming carefully. Reed stepped forward. You will not take them. The leader's mask was unreadable. They belonged to the command. They belonged to themselves, Reed said. A tense silence stretched. Then the hunters charged. Reed fired a warning shot into the snow, forcing them to pause. Kayla moved quickly, grabbing a metal pipe from the sled. She swung it at one hunter, hitting his helmet with a loud clang. Lyra found a heavy rock and threw it, knocking another hunter off balance. Reed fired again, this time aiming to disable. The hunter stumbled, but pressed on. The fight was brutal and fast. Snow flew as bodies collided. Reed shielded Kayla when the hunter swung the blade. Lyra screamed as another hunter lunged at her, but the sisters fought with fierce courage. Kayla's eyes burned with defiance. We are not slaves, she shouted. Lyra nodded, her voice strong. We choose freedom. Suddenly, headlights cut through the trees. Engines roared as vehicles burst into the clearing. Reinforcements had arrived, old friends of Reed from the resistance. They fired into the hunters, forcing them to retreat. The hunters backed away, shouting orders to fall back. As the hunters fled into the night, Reed helped Kayla and Lyra catch their breath. You fought well, he said. Kayla smiled weakly. We had to. Lyra wiped tears from her cheeks. I am not afraid anymore. Reed looked at them both with pride. When the dust settled, the resistance fighters gathered around. We will protect you, one said. You are not alone. Kayla looked at Reed. Thank you, Reed nodded. This is just the beginning. The night sky was clear, stars shining bright. For the first time, Reed, Kayla, and Lyra felt hope grow inside their hearts, and they knew they would face whatever came next together. Asterisk the new dawn sun rose slowly over the distant hills, casting a warm glow across the snowy landscape. The frozen world no longer felt so cold. Commander Reed stood beside Kayla and Lyra as they looked out over the small settlement where the resistance had taken them. Wooden cabins stood among the trees, smoke rising from chimneys. It was a place where no one owned anyone, and freedom was more than a word. Kayla's green eyes shone with new light. I never thought I would see a place like this. Lyra smiled softly. Me neither. Reed placed a hand on Kayla's shoulder. You are safe now. Days passed, and the sisters began to heal. They learned to walk without fear, to speak without hiding, and to dream of a life they could choose. One afternoon, Kayla held a small seed in her hand. This, she said, is from our home. It is a reminder that life can grow again. Reed smiled. Then let's plant it. Together. They found a patch of earth softened by spring's warmth. Kayla pressed the seed into the soil, her hands steady. This is a promise, she said, that no matter what happens, we will keep fighting for freedom. Reed watched as the first green sprout broke through the earth. He thought about the long road they had traveled, the battles, the fears, and the hope that never died. This is just the beginning, he said softly. Kayla and Lyra nodded. Together. They faced a new dawn, one where they could finally be more than what others had made them. At night, under a sky full of stars, Reed heard the sisters laughing softly. They spoke of the future, of friends to meet and fields to farm. Lyra whispered, I am free. Kayla smiled. So am I. Reed knew that no matter what came next, they would face it as one, free, strong, and alive. The wind carried their laughter into the night, a promise to the stars that the past was behind them and the new dawn was theirs to own.